Okay, let's dive into the wild and explore a confrontation that you might not see on your typical nature documentary highlight reel. We're talking about a high-stakes drama, a life-or-death struggle between two creatures that, on the surface, seem worlds apart in their strategies for survival, yet can find themselves locked in an incredible battle. Picture this, the vibrant, sun-drenched stage of the natural world, where every rustle in the leaves, every shadow, can mean the difference between another day lived and becoming another creature's meal, or succumbing to a foe you never anticipated. Today, we're pitting the seemingly stoic, ancient-looking iguana against one of nature's most efficient and feared predators, the venomous snake. Who will survive? It's a question that doesn't always have a straightforward answer, and the journey to find out is packed with incredible adaptations and raw, instinctual power. Now, when you think of an iguana, what comes to mind? Probably a pretty chill lizard, right? Basking on a rock, munching on some leaves or flowers, looking like a miniature dinosaur just enjoying its day. And for the most part, you'd be right. Iguanas, especially the green iguanas we often picture, are primarily herbivores. They're not out there actively seeking conflict. They're more about soaking up the sun to regulate their body temperature, finding the choicest vegetation, and generally trying to avoid becoming someone else's lunch. They can grow to impressive sizes, some species reaching up to 6 or 7 feet in length, tail included, and weighing a good 15 to 20 pounds. That's a substantial creature. Their skin, a mosaic of greens, grays, or even blues and oranges depending on the species and mood, provides excellent camouflage amidst the foliage. They have strong limbs, sharp claws for climbing and digging, and a surprisingly powerful tail that's not just for balance. We'll definitely come back to that tail. Despite their often placid appearance, iguanas are survivors. They've been around for a very long time, and that's no accident. They possess a keen awareness of their surroundings, excellent eyesight, and a remarkable ability to disappear into the environment when danger approaches. And when cornered, believe me, they can put up a fight that would surprise many. Then we have our other contender, the venomous snake. Just the words venomous snake are enough to send a shiver down many spines, and for good reason. These are predators honed by millennia of evolution to be incredibly efficient hunters. Unlike the iguana, which might spend its day foraging peacefully, the venomous snake is often a creature of patience and explosive action. Think of vipers like rattlesnakes or fer-de-lances, or elapids like cobras or coral snakes. Each has its own unique brand of danger. Their primary weapon, of course, is their venom, a complex cocktail of toxins designed to immobilize prey and begin the process of digestion even before the meal is swallowed. Some venoms are neurotoxic, attacking the nervous system, leading to paralysis. Others are hemotoxic, damaging blood cells and tissues, causing massive internal bleeding and swelling. It's potent stuff, delivered through specialized fangs with terrifying precision. Snakes are masters of stealth, often relying on camouflage that makes them virtually invisible against the forest floor or among rocks. They can lie in wait for hours, sometimes days, for the perfect moment to strike. Their senses are finely tuned to detect prey. Some have heat-sensing pits that allow them to see the thermal signature of warm-blooded animals, though an iguana, being cold-blooded, presents a different kind of target, relying more on movement and scent. They are flexible, fast, and capable of striking with lightning speed. So, how do these two even end up in a battle? It's not typically a predator-prey relationship in the classic sense when we're talking about a full-grown iguana and many venomous snakes. While some very large snakes might prey on smaller or juvenile iguanas, a large, mature iguana is often too big to be considered a typical meal for many venomous snake species that might share its habitat. Instead, these confrontations often arise from accidental encounters, territorial disputes, or when an iguana is defending its nest or young. Imagine a dense tropical forest, the air thick with humidity, sunlight dappling through the canopy. An iguana might be descending from a tree, heading towards a patch of fallen fruit, or a female might be guarding a freshly laid clutch of eggs in a sandy burrow. At the same time, a venomous snake, perhaps a pit viper, might be silently moving through the undergrowth, seeking a warm spot to bask or an ambush point for its next meal of a rodent or bird. Their paths cross. Neither was looking for the other, but suddenly, they are there, face to face, in a space too small for an easy retreat. The air crackles with unspoken tension. The snake, detecting movement, might coil defensively, its head raised, tongue flicking rapidly, tasting the air, assessing the large, unfamiliar shape before it. It's not immediately registering food, but it is registering potential threat or obstacle. Its body tenses, muscles ready to propel it forward in a strike if necessary. The iguana, on the other hand, freezes. Its excellent eyesight has picked up the sinuous form, the distinct pattern that screams danger. Its first instinct is often to escape, to dart up the nearest tree or into dense bushes. But what if escape isn't an immediate option? What if the snake is blocking its path, or if the iguana has something vital to protect, like those eggs? This is where the iguana's surprising defensive capabilities come into play. Its usually calm demeanor shifts. It might puff up its body, trying to appear even larger and more intimidating. The dewlap under its chin might extend, and it could orient itself sideways to the snake to present its biggest possible profile. It might even hiss, a sound you wouldn't typically associate with these lizards. This isn't the relaxed sunbather anymore. This is an animal preparing to defend its life. The snake watches, its lidless eyes unblinking, calculating. It's a standoff, a silent negotiation of threat and intent, where the next move could be the difference between life and a very painful death. The jungle, moments before alive with the chirps of insects and calls of birds, seems to hold its breath, waiting to see who will flinch first. The standoff continues, a frozen tableau in the dappled jungle light. The iguana, now fully alert and agitated, isn't just relying on making itself look bigger. Its body is a coiled spring, ready to uncoil in an explosive burst of action. Remember that powerful tail I mentioned earlier? This is where it becomes a formidable weapon. It's not just for balance or swimming. An adult iguana can whip its tail with incredible speed and force, enough to deliver a stinging, painful blow. Think of it like a thick, muscular bullwhip, tipped with hard scales. It's a defensive tool they use against predators far larger than snakes, like ocelots or even birds of prey. So, as the snake remains coiled, assessing, the iguana might begin to subtly shift its position, angling that tail, preparing to lash out. It might also open its mouth wide in a threat display, revealing the pink interior and its surprisingly sharp, serrated teeth. While primarily herbivores, those teeth can inflict a nasty bite if it comes to that, though it's more of a last resort. The primary defense, after intimidation, is often that tail. The snake, for its part, isn't easily deterred by bluster. It's a creature that deals in life and death daily. If it's a pit viper, its heat-sensing pits are working overtime, trying to understand this large, now agitated, cold-blooded creature. It might start to exhibit its own warning signals. A rattlesnake, if that's our contender, would begin that iconic, chilling rattle, a clear message: stay back, I'm armed and dangerous. Other vipers might engage in tail vibrating, even without rattles, creating a buzzing sound against dry leaves, or they might hiss loudly, a sound that carries a universal warning in the animal kingdom. Its body might become even more tightly coiled, the S-shape of its neck becoming more pronounced, ready to launch forward like a releasing spring. The tongue continues its incessant flicking, gathering scent particles, trying to gauge the iguana's intent, its vulnerability. It's a battle of nerves as much as a potential physical conflict. The snake doesn't want to waste precious venom on something that isn't prey or a genuine, immediate threat if it can be avoided, but it also won't back down if it feels cornered or sufficiently provoked. Then, a flicker of movement. Perhaps the iguana, seeing a momentary lapse in the snake's fixed gaze, decides to make a break for it. Or maybe, feeling the pressure, the snake decides the iguana is too close, too much of an unknown quantity, and it strikes. Let's imagine the snake initiates. With a speed that almost defies belief, the snake's head launches forward. It's a blur of motion, fangs extended, aimed with deadly accuracy. This is where the iguana's own reflexes are put to the ultimate test. Despite its size, an iguana can be surprisingly agile. It might leap sideways or backwards, the snake's fangs grazing its tough, scaly hide or missing entirely, striking empty air or a nearby leaf. The sound of the strike, even if it misses, is often sharp and sudden, a cutting thwip through the air. If the iguana is quick enough or lucky enough to evade that first strike, the battle isn't over. It's just entered a new, more dynamic phase. The iguana might now employ its tail with full force. It will arch its back and swing that muscular appendage with a powerful crack, aiming for the snake's head or body. A well-aimed tail whip can be incredibly painful, even for a snake. It can stun, disorient, or even injure, potentially breaking ribs or deterring the snake from pressing the attack. Imagine the thud of that tail connecting. The snake, if hit, might recoil, momentarily stunned, giving the iguana another precious second to improve its position or attempt another escape. However, snakes are resilient. They are essentially a tube of muscle, and while a hard blow can hurt, it might not be enough to incapacitate a determined predator, especially one running on adrenaline and instinct. But what if the strike connects? What if those hypodermic fangs find their mark? The iguana's scales offer some protection. They're tough, but they're not impenetrable to the sharp, needle-like fangs of a venomous snake, especially if the snake hits a softer area, like the neck, a leg joint, or the underbelly. If the bite is successful, venom is injected. Instantly, the iguana would feel the searing pain. Depending on the type of venom, the effects would begin to manifest relatively quickly, though perhaps not as instantly as you might see in movies. If it's a hemotoxic venom, typical of many vipers, it starts to break down tissues and blood cells. Swelling would begin almost immediately around the bite site. The iguana might thrash, trying to dislodge the snake if it hasn't already released its grip. Many venomous snakes employ a bite and release tactic, especially with larger, potentially dangerous adversaries, to avoid injury themselves. Even bitten, the fight is far from over for the iguana. These are incredibly hardy reptiles. Adrenaline courses through its system. It might become even more frantic in its defense, tail whipping with renewed desperation, perhaps even trying to bite back, using its own jaws and teeth as a weapon of last resort. Its primary goal now, if it's still capable, would be to get away, to put distance between itself and the source of the venom. Perhaps it attempts to scramble up a tree, the venom already starting to make its limbs feel heavy, its vision perhaps blurring. Or it might head for water if nearby. Many iguanas are excellent swimmers, and diving into a river or pond could offer a temporary reprieve from a terrestrial snake, and some believe the coolness of the water might even slow the venom spread slightly, though that's debatable. The snake, meanwhile, after a successful bite, often retreats a short distance. It doesn't usually want a prolonged brawl. Its job is done, or so it hopes. It will wait, patiently, for the venom to do its work. It will use its keen senses to track the envenomated iguana, even if it manages to move some distance away. The snake is playing the long game now. It knows that even a large, powerful iguana will eventually succumb to a significant dose of potent venom, but eventually can be a surprisingly long time. The iguana's size, its cold-blooded metabolism which can sometimes slow down the spread and action of venom compared to a warm-blooded animal, and its sheer toughness mean it won't go down easily. It's a race against time for the iguana. Can it find safety? Can its body somehow fight off the toxins? Or will the venom inevitably claim its life? The jungle floor, once a stage for a tense standoff, is now the scene of a desperate struggle for survival, with one combatant trying to escape the insidious effects of the other's deadly weapon. The venom is now a creeping enemy within the iguana's body. If the bite was from a viper, the hemotoxins are relentlessly assaulting its system. The area around the bite, perhaps a leg or the flank, is swelling dramatically, becoming discolored, purplish-black, as blood vessels rupture and tissue begins to die. The pain must be immense, a burning, throbbing agony. The iguana, driven by an instinct more ancient than thought, is desperately trying to move. Each movement is becoming more laborious. Its breathing might become more rapid and shallow as the toxins start to affect its circulatory system and potentially its respiratory muscles. If it managed to reach water, it might be floating, trying to conserve energy, but the water offers no cure, only a temporary respite from the immediate threat of the snake. The cool water might feel soothing, but the internal damage continues. Let's consider the alternative. What if our snake was an elapid, say a coral snake or a small but potent species of cobra found in the same habitat? The venom here is primarily neurotoxic. The onset of symptoms might be different, perhaps even more insidious initially. There might be less immediate, visible swelling at the bite site, but the venom is stealthily attacking the nervous system. The iguana might start to experience muscle weakness, tremors, or even paralysis, starting near the bite and spreading. Its vision could blur, its coordination falter. The powerful tail whips become weaker, less accurate. The ability to grip with its claws diminishes. It might find it increasingly difficult to hold its head up. This is a different kind of agony, not just pain, but a progressive loss of control over its own body, a terrifying descent into helplessness. The snake, meanwhile, is a master of patience. It's likely tracking the iguana, not by sight over long distances, but by scent. The flicking tongue tastes the air, picking up the chemical trail left by the distressed iguana, and perhaps even the subtle scent of the venom itself interacting with the iguana's tissues. It's not in a hurry. It knows the potent brew it delivered will do its work. This waiting period is crucial for the snake. It avoids further risk of injury from a thrashing, dying animal. It conserves energy. For the snake, the battle was won at the moment of envenomation. The rest is just a matter of time before it can claim its hard-won, albeit unintended, meal. If it was a smaller iguana. If it was a large iguana that was bitten defensively, the snake might simply move on, content that the threat has been neutralized. Not every venomous snake bite is about predation, many are purely defensive. Back to our struggling iguana. Its chances of survival are now looking increasingly grim. However, nature is full of surprises. The exact outcome depends on several factors. How much venom was injected? Was it a dry bite, where the snake struck but injected little to no venom? This happens, though it's not something an animal can count on. Was it a glancing blow, or a deep, full envenomation? The size and health of the iguana also play a significant role. A large, robust adult iguana might withstand a dose of venom that would be lethal to a smaller, younger, or weaker individual. Its slower metabolism, being cold-blooded, might give its immune system, however, limited its capacity against complex venoms, a slightly longer window to try and counteract some of the toxins, or at least to sequester the damage. Some studies even suggest that certain reptile species might have a degree of natural resistance to the venoms of snakes they commonly encounter in their environment, though this is a complex and not fully understood area. Imagine the iguana has managed to find a secluded spot, perhaps deep within a thorny thicket or a crevice in some rocks. It's weak, its movements are minimal. The swelling, if it was a hemotoxic bite, might be so severe that the affected limb is virtually useless. The pain is a constant companion. If it was a neurotoxic bite, it might be experiencing progressive paralysis, its breathing becoming increasingly shallow. It's in this critical period that the battle truly rages internally. The iguana's body is fighting a war against an invisible, relentless invader. Its physiological systems are under immense stress. Dehydration can set in if it can't reach water or drink. Without the ability to move, it's also vulnerable to other opportunistic predators or even scavenging insects. There are rare instances, however, where an iguana might survive. If the venom dose was sublethal, or if the iguana is exceptionally resilient, it might, over days or even weeks, begin a slow, arduous recovery. The damaged tissue might eventually slough off. The neurological effects might gradually recede. It would be a grueling process, leaving it weakened and scarred, but alive. It might lose a limb, or partial use of one, but survival is the ultimate victory. These survivors are a testament to the incredible toughness of these ancient reptiles. They carry the literal scars of their encounter, a permanent reminder of their brush with one of nature's most efficient killing machines. But more often than not, especially with a significant envenomation from a potent snake, the outcome is tragic for the iguana. The toxins overwhelm its system. Organ failure begins. If it was a hemotoxic venom, internal bleeding might become widespread. If neurotoxic, respiratory paralysis is a common and a quiet fading as the muscles that control breathing cease to function. The vibrant creature that was basking in the sun, full of life, becomes still. The battle is over. The snake, if it was hunting and the iguana was of a manageable size, will eventually approach cautiously. It will flick its tongue extensively over the iguana's body, confirming it's dead and ensuring the coast is clear of other dangers. Then, the incredible process of swallowing its prey, often whole, will begin. The snake's highly flexible jaws, capable of dislocating, will stretch to accommodate the iguana, a meal that could sustain it for weeks, or even months. In the scenario where the snake struck defensively at a large iguana and then moved on, the iguana's demise still serves a purpose in the ecosystem. Its body will become food for scavengers, vultures, opossums, insects, returning its nutrients to the earth, continuing the cycle of life and death that defines the natural world. It's a stark reminder that in nature, every interaction, even a fatal one, has its place. The drama that unfolded between the iguana and the venomous snake, often unseen by human eyes, is a microcosm of the constant struggle for survival, a dance of adaptation, defense, and predation that plays out countless times a day, in every corner of our wild planet. It's a raw, unscripted performance where the stakes are always the highest. The aftermath of such a confrontation, regardless of who survives, leaves an indelible mark on the ecosystem, a tiny ripple in the vast ocean of natural events. If the iguana succumbs, its absence, especially if it was a mature breeding adult, might have subtle local effects. Perhaps a particular patch of vegetation it favored grows a little wilder, or a specific fruit it dispersed through its droppings doesn't get carried quite as far. If it was a female guarding a nest, those eggs are now vulnerable, their chance of hatching dramatically reduced, potentially impacting the next generation of iguanas in that specific area. Nature, however, is resilient. Other iguanas will fill the niche, other dispersers will carry seeds. But for that individual life, its unique contribution is over. Conversely, if the iguana miraculously survives a venomous snakebite, it's a changed animal. It carries the memory of the encounter not just in scars, but likely in its behavior. It might become more wary, more attuned to the subtle signs of a snake's presence, a particular rustle, a specific scent. This learned caution could, in the long run, increase its chances of avoiding similar threats in the future. This is a crucial aspect of survival, learning from near-death experiences. This individual, tougher and wiser, might go on to reproduce, passing on its resilient genes, and perhaps even subtly influencing the behavior of its offspring or other iguanas in its social group, if they are capable of such observational learning. The survivor is a living testament to the power of endurance. And what of the snake? If it successfully predated a smaller iguana, it has secured a significant meal, vital for its energy reserves, growth, and reproduction. The venom, so deadly to the iguana, is for the snake a key to life, an evolutionary marvel that allows it to subdue prey much larger and stronger than itself without prolonged physical struggle, minimizing its own risk of injury. After such a large meal, the snake will retreat to a safe, secluded spot to digest, a process that can take many days, even weeks, depending on the size of the meal and the ambient temperature. During this time, it is vulnerable, its movements sluggish, and it relies heavily on camouflage and its previous caution in selecting a resting place. If the encounter was purely defensive and the snake moved on after biting a large iguana, it has expended some of its precious venom. Venom is metabolically expensive to produce, a complex cocktail of proteins that takes time and energy to replenish. So, a defensive strike is not undertaken lightly. The snake will likely be more cautious, perhaps less inclined to strike again, until its venom reserves are restored, unless faced with an immediate, unavoidable threat. This entire encounter, from the initial tense standoff to the final resolution, highlights the intricate web of interactions in the wild. It's not just about predator and prey, it's about chance encounters, territoriality, defensive offspring, and the incredible array of adaptations that each creature possesses. The iguana's keen eyesight, its camouflage, its surprising speed, its intimidating displays, and that formidable tail, all are tools honed by evolution to help it survive. The snake's stealth, its own camouflage, its heat-sensing abilities in pit vipers, its incredible strike speed, and of course, its venom and delivery system, these are the attributes of a highly specialized hunter or a creature that can defend itself with lethal efficiency. When we, as observers, delve into these little-known survival battles, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity and often brutal beauty of the natural world. It challenges our preconceived notions. The iguana isn't just a passive sunbather, it's a warrior when it needs to be. The snake isn't just a villain, it's a marvel of biological engineering, playing a crucial role in controlling populations of its prey. These aren't good guys and bad guys, they are simply co-inhabitants of this planet, each trying to make its way, to live another day, to pass on its genes. The drama isn't confined to just iguanas and snakes, of course. Similar life and death struggles play out constantly, everywhere, between countless species. But this particular pairing, the ancient-looking lizard and the silent, venomous hunter, has a unique appeal, a kind of primeval clash. It reminds us that even in places that look idyllic and peaceful, the struggle for existence is an ever-present reality. It underscores the fact that survival is often a matter of inches, of split-second decisions, of the precise calibration of attack and defense. So, who will survive between the iguana and the venomous snake? As we've seen, there's no single, definitive answer. It depends on a multitude of factors, the species involved, their relative sizes, the element of surprise, the accuracy of the strike, the potency and amount of venom, the iguana's immediate defensive reaction, and perhaps even a little bit of luck. Sometimes the iguana's defenses are enough to deter the snake or allow for a narrow escape. Sometimes the snake's attack is too swift, too precise, its venom too potent. Each encounter writes its own unique story, its own chapter in the grand, ongoing narrative of the wild. What we can say for certain is that both creatures are supremely adapted for their roles, and when their paths cross in conflict, the outcome is always a dramatic illustration of nature's raw power and intricate design. I find these interactions absolutely fascinating, and I hope you do too. It's a world away from our daily lives, yet it's happening all around us, a constant testament to the drive to survive. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into this incredible, little-known survival battle. What are your thoughts? Have you ever witnessed an unusual wildlife encounter, or perhaps you have more insights into iguana or snake behavior? I'd love to hear about it in the comments section below. Let's get a discussion going. Sharing your experiences and knowledge enriches our understanding of these amazing animals. If you found this journey into the wild as captivating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more people who are passionate about nature. And, of course, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our future explorations into the wonders of the natural world. We've got so much more to discover together. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay curious, keep exploring, and always remember that even in the smallest corners of our planet, incredible stories of survival are unfolding every single moment. Take care, and I'll see you in the next adventure.